All right. Welcome to Powered by Authenticity. We love a live recording. And you know what we love even more are when our live recordings are with amazing guests. And tonight, you guys are in for a treat. I am thrilled to welcome Stephanie Cord Miller, the CEO of Empower Your Results,
Mm.
to the show. Stephanie, how are you tonight?
Oh, I'm doing great, Emily. I'm just excited to be here. I love this podcast, and I think the conversations you have are really nice.
Oh, thank you. And thank you
Yeah.
for being here. We appreciate it. So,
Yeah.
why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
Well, I mean, I could, like I'm originally from Texas. I moved to Boston, Massachusetts when I was 19 when I transferred to Boston College. So now I'm a Boston. I'm a masshole. I would say. But it's like you can take the girl out of Texas, but you can't really take the Texas out of the girl. There's a part of that that's true. And so I moved up to Boston when I was 19, went to Boston College. I ended up meeting my husband my senior year in college, and we got married, stayed in Boston. And I kind of walked into this career in technology that's taken me on this really awesome ride through adult education and media and commercial media and public media and technology and community building. It's been a cool ride.
That's amazing. I love that. Do you have any like kids? Any
Oh
family?
yeah. So
Yeah.
I do. So we got married, and I have two kids, and they're young adults now, which is awesome.
Aw,
So,
awesome.
I'm definitely not one of those people who are like, "Oh gosh, I wish they could be babies forever." No, no, never once. Not once was, I that person. I was always kind of like, "I can't wait to be an empty nester." And now I'm here, and it's pretty awesome, but, the nest is not empty. They don't leave. They don't
Yeah.
leave. They're here. But I now have but they're adults. I don't have to worry about babysitting. I actually have somebody who can, like, watch the dogs if my husband and I wanna go away somewhere. So, like,
Yeah.
that's things are awesome in that way. And, we have 2 dogs. They are the alternative, or what we call, my kids call them the alternative children, um, because, they've kind of taken over I guess our attention as parents, really. And they're just a cute little loud, very annoying and obnoxious little Jack Russell Terriers. So
Oh, they're tiny.
yeah, they're little terrorists. That's
Oh
true.
my gosh.
Yeah.
I I have 2 Cavalier King Charles Spaniels, and,
Oh,
I feel
yes.
that.
Yes, yeah, they have personality.
Oh,
A
yeah.
lot of personality.
Yeah, it's fun to see, actually. It's kind of fun to watch 'em.
I have this fond memory of a King Charles Spaniel. When I worked at CBS Boston, there was like radio stations and TV, like I think it was like 3 TV stations. Well, one was in Rhode Island, so 2 TV stations and like 5 radio stations, kind of all mashed in this space. And I believe is one of this long-standing kind of evening nightside radio talk guy. He
Yeah.
would bring his little King Charles Cavalier. He was the only animal I think that was like allowed in that building, but that dog was a fixture. It was always with him, and it was, and I just, it's such a great memory. So like it was a very great experience with
Yeah.
the King Charles Cavalier.
Awesome. Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, we love our pups, don't we? Everybody loves pups.
Like, well, I didn't wa I was very against the dog for a long
Yeah.
time, and then my husband kinda sneak attacked, with a, 3.5 pound puppy and was like, "I don't know, what do you think?" And you're
Uh,
like, "You're a goner," at that point, and then you're like, "When can we get the next one?" And now you're in for it, well, now we're in for a ride.
yeah. I did kind of the same thing. My daughter found the little female, and, we worked through a local breeder, and
Mhm.
we had selected her, and the breeder kept posting a picture of this little guy, her brother, that didn't have a home, and I just kept looking at this puppy going, "Oh my god, it's gonna be homeless." So, of course, now we have the brother and sister.
Oh, yeah, now you've got the 2 of them. Yeah, ours are actually siblings, same parents, different litters.
Yeah.
So we went kind of back to the same people, which was pretty cool. But we've lived in Boston kind of the whole time. We live in Roslindale, which is a village inside of Boston. So Boston is made up of 16 different kind of neighborhoods and villages, which makes up what's called Boston proper. And we kind of live inside of Boston proper, which is pretty awesome. So I look at it as like a city. It almost feels like a city burb. Like it feels very neighborhood and that kind of stuff. But I can hop on a bus and get to a subway station and like be downtown in 40 minutes, which is
cool.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's really nice. What a great section of the country to live in too. So.
Yeah. I mean, it was interesting culture shock about being raised in Texas because, you know, life is different in Texas. It's environmentally different. It's, you know, I would say from a diversity perspective, it was very different in my context of things. And what I loved about my kind of coming into Boston, I was 19 years old. I was transferring to Boston College. It was like September 1st of 1993. And I had a trunk full of, you know, things. And I had like 2 large suitcases and I got put on a plane and I had a cab drop me off in front of this apartment that I'd rented that I'd seen one time, right? On like a quick trip up to like do orientation and things. And I'm dragging all of this stuff into the building because like the cab driver didn't get out and like bring it to your door or anything. Literally, it was just like, bye. So pulling it in, and I'm living in this like studio apartment, and I've never we didn't have studio apartments in Texas. Like I didn't even realize that air conditioning was like an optional thing.
Yeah.
Because everything like air conditioning was ubiquitous in our lifestyle, where in New England, it's incredibly optional. So there were some interesting things that you learn about how, you know, we live in a really big country and this country covers so many things and it provides a lot of perspective around, how beautiful and big this country is, but also how each of these places has its own personality and its own kind of an environmental experience. And, I've felt like I belonged in Boston when I discovered that at 13 years old, because my mother brought me up here on a flight, like her last domestic flight. She was a flight attendant for American Airlines.
Oh, amazing.
And it was her last domestic flight until she went to international. And this was back in the day where like flight attendants could stay overnight places. Like they would like bunker down and being like, oh, your flight's not till the next day. They don't do that now. They wear them out.
Yeah, they do.
Now, but we had an opportunity to stay downtown and explore. And like, I got exposed to this and I felt called to this place. And I feel I've been here longer than I was in Texas, but this feels home.
Oh, I love that.
To me. Yeah.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Lovely. Well, awesome. Well, we're so glad that you're here, and I can't wait to talk about the work that you're doing. We like to do a little icebreaker, though.
Oh, okay. Let's do it.
Do you have a favorite summertime activity that you're really looking forward to?
I do. So there's a couple of things, but every single summer, so my husband has a band called the Boston Naturals. They are like a rock and roll band, cover band, like the best kind you've ever seen in your life. And like every time you go, it's like a concert. And so they're at this place called the Wellfleet Beachcomber. I'm actually wearing one of their shirts, like a logo.
Nice.
And the Wellfleet Beachcomber is on Cape Cod. It is this great historical building. I recommend everybody go check it out. It's really awesome. But what's beautiful, it's right on this like dune where you're seeing the Atlantic Ocean. And it's like during the day, it's like a restaurant, and at night, it's like a nightclub.
Oh, cool.
And so the band plays there every Memorial Day weekend, every 4th of July, every Labor Day weekend. And it's my happy place. So I go to the Wellfleet Beachcomber, we go dance, I watch the band, we have a great time. And it's like it's on the dunes right along. I mean, you can just see the Atlantic Ocean. It's absolutely stunning. And once you experience the Beachcomber, like in person, like you're changed, like you get it. You're like in this club now. It's really like, you want to talk about community and lifestyle.
Yeah.
That is the epitome of it. it's so wild. Like they've done such a great job, but I love that place.
That is so great. It's good to hear you're passionate about that, and it's Memorial Day weekend, so you're
Mhm.
gearing up for your first one. That's
Opening
amazing.
weekend.
All right.
Yeah.
So
So
cool. That sounds like a really great time.
it
Yeah.
is. It is. Do you have a something planned for you?
Yeah, so me personally, I can't wait to, jump off of our pontoon boat, at a waterfalls on Calendar Bay and Lake Nipissing, so
I
that is
love
my
that.
moment. Sometimes there's a bottle of champagne. Producer Ken, often gets tasked with helping me open said,
All right, Ken, I like
It
it.
does happen.
and producer Ken I think I know what he's gonna say,
All
but
right, what about you, producer Ken?
Oh, I'm looking forward to getting some fishing
I
in.
know it.
That's a good one. That's a good one. I also, we hit the Lake of the Ozarks.
Yay.
Almost every year as a certain part of our family, it's like cousins, we do like a little family reunion.
Yeah.
Like we get we get a pontoon boat for the day. One other day we'll get jet skis.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, big lake life is awesome. What a great way to spend time. Fishing, boating,
Yep.
chilling. Love it.
Yes, absolutely. So, sounds like we all have the lake in common. We're
Mm,
all looking forward to that water adventure.
yes, yes.
Awesome. Well, I would love for you to share,
Okay,
about the work that you're doing, with Empower Your Results, and I know you also work with CEO Roundtable.
do, yeah.
So, tell us a little bit about the work that you're doing.
Sure. So with CEO Roundtable, I'm kind of so it's kind of like I'm there to help the chairman get to work less and relax more. So I'm kind of
Hey.
helping run more of the day to day so he can enjoy a little more retirement. And in doing that, we're it's about recruitment, and we want to bring more CEOs into this community. This is a beautiful community. It's a confidential roundtable peer community for CEOs. We really focus on kind of small, medium enterprises, somewhere, we have ranges of like a 2 million a year to 200 million a year. Different types of diversity of industry. We're kind of focused in the greater Boston area, and we're looking to bring more CEOs in that really understand the value of peer groups. Listen, we talk about in culture, like leadership culture, that everybody needs a safe space,
Yeah.
right? Where people can bring their full selves and be vulnerable and do good work. Well, CEOs need that too. Yeah, but they can't do that in those spaces where they're supposed to show up as the leaders. They have to show up being empathetic and accountability driven, and they need to, be visionaries that can really get people, working behind that vision. But they too are solving really big, complex, hard problems. And they may not want to talk to the board about certain things. They may not want to talk to their management team about certain things, and they too need a safe space
Yeah.
that allows them to solve these challenges. Like, bringing a challenge to the table is like having 10 brains helping you solve a problem rather than just one.
Yeah.
A lot of times, listen, business isn't all these kind of like, we're all not special snowflakes all the time. Like some of these things are actually very systematic or systemic, or it could be a workflow or a model or whatever. But it's like these things exist where they're not so unique that other people can't help you that may have had experience, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's really what's powerful about the CEO Roundtable. So I'm working with Chairman CEO Mr. Lewis, and I think you'll have a chance to talk to him about. And he is so wonderful to talk to. Such a brilliant man, and he brings such a calming, thoughtful, curious mind to like everything that we do. But he has so much experience, like such a deep well of real experience to pull from. So I love getting to work with him, and then I get to bring kind of my modern technology business operation skill to kind of bring in to kind of help modernize and bring that business up, to kind of help it support it a little more without hand-to-hand combat. You know what I mean?
I love that. I love that there's a space. I have a business. It's, still in its infancy and
Yeah.
we're still building. But it's always nice when I can find someone else to go talk to about a similar situation, right?
Yeah.
Like whether
Yeah.
it's resources and where do you go to procure somebody with a specific skill
Mhm.
set, or whether there's something. So I love the fact that you're building that community and having a space
Mhm.
available for others to know that they can go, and everybody's so afraid of judgment, you know?
Everybody, right?
Yeah,
We're all
yeah,
afraid of judgment, and, it's beautiful about these, but we really believe in person first.
yeah,
There is a virtual component as kind of necessary, but we really believe in the power of in person.
yeah,
I think people are craving it. I think, we definitely know a lot of CEOs want their people back in the office, but people are
yeah,
resisting. Well, like, this is what a peer group helps you. It helps you
yeah,
process, you know, where is this, like, I want everybody in the office coming from?
yeah,
What is it really coming from? Some of it's coming from, like, your own stuff that you might need to,
yeah,
like, go see a
yep.
therapist about. And sometimes, you know, what's beautiful about these confidential spaces is that, like, we don't record them. Like, even if you show up in Zoom, nothing's recorded,
Right.
right?
Yep.
When we say it's a confidential space, like, we want to make sure that we're creating that space, but we also want to create community so that that it's not just the 10 or 12 people in your table, but you're starting to understand that there's a broader community and more brains that, can be brought to the table about specific things. So we're really looking at recruitment. We're really looking at, and, making sure that make that member experience is really rich and valuable to them, and offers them the support and care that they need, being part of this community. So that's what I'm doing with CEO Roundtable.
Awesome.
And then how it works with my business, Empower Your Results, is that we actually kind of do similar things, but we do it for different audiences.
Yeah.
So, I really focus on business operators who, like business owners who need to become better business operators,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So I think about it as, like, I help mostly women business owners become superior business operators. Why? Because when people are starting a business, whether you're a business owner or you're like an entrepreneur trying to solve a crazy world problem or whatever, you're doing it because you crave a sense of freedom. You want that control. You want that ownership of your life.
Yep.
Hang on one second.
Yep.
Oh, hi
There
there.
we go. Hi.
Okay. Hi. All right. I apologize. My thing was, like, frozen, and I actually would think I was saying something pretty good.
Everything you say is amazing.
Oh, you're funny. You're funny. But with Empower Your
Yeah.
Results, I help women business owners become, really good operators,
Yeah.
because um, we start businesses because we want freedom. We start businesses because we want to own our time. But when you become a business owner, you learn that you are working way more than you ever thought, right? It's a much
Yeah.
harder job than you ever think. However, you can make it easier on yourself.
Yeah.
You can really create and optimize your business to align with the lifestyle you want to create that space or that time flexibility that you want. But sometimes we just don't know how to get there,
Yeah.
right? Sometimes you can't necessarily see the forest, the trees kind of
Yep.
stuff. And I have one of those keen sensibilities where I'm more like a drone, where I'm kind of like flying over and I'm like, I see the forest, I see the trees, I can see the mountain. I just have that ability to kind of help people bring them up and pull those things out, and then really get focused on the pieces that are going to move the most of the business, and stop getting so caught up in these distractions that, ultimately are not high value, that they're not the best use of your time or
Yep.
your people's time. And you really are going to just get focused.
Yep.
And think about, how do you execute? Can you execute more efficiently? Can you delegate more? Can you
Yep.
outsource? Like, what can you do to create that space that you need? Learning how to buy your time back is something that most business owners don't necessarily realize until they're just drowning in it,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
But that's part of the pain. You got to feel the
Yep.
pain and you want to, and you have to feel it enough that you're going to want to do something about it. And that's when you come to people like me.
Yeah. Yeah, I like to call that my noise. Like, I
Yeah.
have so much noise that
Yeah.
being able to remove it, and, you're right, a lot of times, and I see it particularly now, especially with women,
Mhm.
where if you're let go from, like, a job that you've been,
Mhm.
at for some time, and you make the decision to go on your own, understanding how to, um, optimize your time as an entrepreneur to
Yeah.
say, "Okay, I'm doing this because I want a work-life balance, or I wanna build something that's my own." And sometimes you just, to your point, you get stuck in the trees, right? Like,
Mhm.
you're just in a forest and you don't know how to get out of it, and
Yeah.
I'm sure I'm positive that someone like yourself coming in and just being like, "Okay, focus," and helping
Mhm.
to optimize the tools that you have, the vision that you have, and then how to implement against that while protecting that space that you wanna protect is
Yeah.
so valuable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of people look at like is work-life balance a real thing? And I look at it as, if you are a business owner, you're an entrepreneur, if you are a senior level executive, it's work-life integration.
Yeah.
You got to embrace it as it's an integrative lifestyle experience. And once you start embracing that kind of integrative mindset,
Yep.
then it and you can learn how to create real like guardrails and boundaries around your time. You find that actually by being kind of stricter on your time, you actually create that freedom.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I love that. And it's so needed. You don't
Yeah.
realize it at first, but, when you could take a step back, you realize how
Mhm.
much something like that is truly needed. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
awesome. How exciting. One thing, and I'm wondering how this plays into it. I saw a
Mhm.
recent post from you where
Yeah.
you talked about shifting your mindset.
Yes.
And instead of it, being like, "Oh, when I have this, I'll be able to do this." Instead, flip it to be, do, have. So
Mhm.
changing the prescription and lens of how you look at things.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that? Because I love this. I was reading about it and I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah. I was just talking to one of my mentees about this on
yay."
Sunday. I learned this through a leadership training program I was allowed to go through, and it was really centered around this concept of like adaptive leadership.
Yeah.
And really it's a mindset, right? And the mindset is actually very empowering. And a lot of times we as people
Mhm.
can sit in a space of either field of dreams or victimhood, right? Where there is this like, if I build it, it will, like if I create it, it's going to be this thing.
Right.
That's If you build a field of dreams, nobody's going to get there unless you tell them where it is over and over and over again.
Yep.
And then you hire more people to tell them. Like that's kind of the reality. And then it's a mindset about being kind of prone to action versus waiting for certain things to exist or arrive for it to happen. So one of it is more like you're waiting, and the other is like you're taking action. And so it really is. I'm not sure how deep in the TikTok space you are, but on TikTok you see a lot of these other experts,
Yeah.
and they really talk about this. You need to just, if you want to be something, then just live like that something, live like that person, right?
Yep.
That's the exact same thing, right? It's be, then do, be do to have, right?
Yep.
So let's lighten that down to another concept of, a lot of times people, they want a healthy body, they want to look good in a swimsuit, right? But they say like, oh, I have to have a gym membership, I have to have a trainer, I have to do, like I have to have better food, right? So
Mhm.
it's like all these things I have to have before
Right.
I can do or give myself. So you're taking permission away from yourself. You're not giving, B is giving yourself permission. B is giving yourself the ability to take action. It's giving you that permission to be,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
A lot of us need to shift that mindset, so that it is empowering, it is action oriented, And it's not sitting from a place of waiting for the world, waiting for your life to happen. It's about go take action and create it. So you don't have to have a gym membership, right, to be a healthy person.
Very true.
Your mindset says, I'm going to live and be like a healthy person. Healthy people make good choices about food. They make good choices about sleep. They make good choices and they take action around those good choices.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So that's the whole concept of it. And it's really empowering of a mindset that's really about helping you take action and giving yourself that permission to just do. Right.
Yep.
Because at the end, you'll have that healthy body, you'll have that summer body, but by being mindful of the choices that you make so that you do.
Yeah, I love that. And it's something that recently happened, popped into my head. So I'm curious. And I know this wasn't part of our prep, but something just popped in when you were talking about that. So, I had a friend who recently lost her job.
Mm-hmm.
And so, so it's like, trying to find another one. I'm like, well, what if instead, while you're trying to find another one, you go do a side hustle for yourself?
Mm-hmm.
She said, well, what, I would have to do this and I'd have to do that. I was like, or you put out into the universe and you manifest it and you just start going and being a business and just go make it happen.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when you were talking about the fitness realm, where most of us are fortunate that we have 2 feet that can go hit the pavement, and taking a walk is sometimes even more effective than hitting the gym for an hour and just kind of, snoozing around it. So
that's totally true.
Yeah. So those 2 things popped into my head when you were talking about it, because it's kind of like if you want it to happen, to your point earlier, remove the noise. Like you're getting in your own way with the noise.
That's right.
See yourself actually be the person that you want to do, be the business, and then just go and do and see what happens and kind of manifest it into a reality situation.
And really manifestation is like intentional action.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Over and over and over again.
Yeah.
I mean, that's because your manifestation is really you taking intentional choices and actions every single day towards what it is you want to create or get or do. Right. So like, that's the beautiful part of it, which is, there's a lot of those components that go in together, but I love that one. It's a very simple concept to help people understand that you actually have the power. Sometimes starting a business is just asking like, what are the 5 questions I need answers to just get me to that next place.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's the next step. And I highly recommend the approach of what's the only next thing I have to worry about to move this forward.
Yeah.
That's how you kind of also work out that noise, because then it becomes, what is the actual next step? Okay. I've learned that information. Now what do I do? Right. Yeah. So it's about intentionality.
Yeah. I love it. I've tried to start doing that with my to-do list that I have on a daily basis. It's what's the top 3 things. And I'll tell you when a shift happened. Mm-hmm. So it was always client first. So I take a sheet of paper and I've got my pillars. So I've got my clients, then I have my consulting firm, my podcasting, and then personal. Yeah. And recently I made a shift and I shifted that to personal first, because the personal usually includes my workout, which once I get that done, I feel better and the rest just kind of happens. But then the number one thing that, like, if for across all the boards, if that's the only thing I get done today, what could I then build upon it tomorrow to get to the second thing? And it's a shift that I've recently made myself to try to your point, remove the noise.
That's brilliant. Like and see how simple it really comes down to. Yeah. It's actually, we like to make things super complex. We like to make these things harder on ourselves. They don't have to be, but we live in this world of just noise. Yeah. Right. And then scope creep constantly.
Scope creep, overthinking it, all the good things.
all of it. Yep.
My next question that I'm thinking about is this shift in mindset. Mm-hmm. If that could grow across an organization, how do you think that would actually help organic growth. You
Oh,
change the perspective of your teams.
mhm.
How does that support not only personal growth, but your organizational growth? I would have to think they would be pretty
I mean, I believe that it's empowering. I think that if you are, if you're a leader that can really delegate and feel confident and trust that team to execute, then the be do have mindset tied to a really clear vision of like this is where we're going, right? The why we're going to do it.
Yep.
And then when you can articulate like what it needs to look like, or what it needs to like, how much it needs to make, or what it needs to look like, and then you allow these brilliant people that you hire to help figure out like the how you get there.
Yeah.
And you give them that, just like you get to be this person, like you be this person, like
Right.
be marketing, be sales, be operations, like be and that if you can as a leader do that, then what you find is that you will probably move about 30% faster as a business, and you may end up yielding definitely probably double digit increase in revenue over time.
Yep.
Because you're allowing the team to create a system that is about execution, right? And if you empower those people to know where they need to go, understand how, what are those kind of KPIs that need to keep them on course, you don't necessarily have to worry about getting in all the business all the time, right? Because then you're focused on the right things, right? And if you're focused on the right things and you let them be, right? So they can go do, right? Then you will have, right? So like, that's also like how in an organization, it can work. But it really is dependent upon, I would say the leadership kind of capabilities and the management capabilities of that team.
Yeah. I love that. The other thing I'm thinking is the impact to culture, because when you have a culture, and when you were kind of talking through that, it almost made me think about, okay, you've got your strategy that a leader's going to put, and that's your strategy, and let your leadership go after that. But how you achieve that growth that aligns to that strategy, you can almost have your teams have like that entrepreneurial spirit because they know what they have to go do. So
Correct.
the positive impact on culture, I mean, it's got to be pretty big.
It's what you end up seeing is like people don't leave.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They build a really strong team forms that creates this. I'm not going to call it a family because I don't like calling companies families. But I would say an incredibly a well-oiled machine of people who really enjoy getting to do that work, and getting to do it together, because you're giving that space. Like when I worked at NPR Digital Services and I was promoted to take it over as managing director, I kind of inherited a little bit of a mess. I mean, from a cultural perspective, morale was tanked. We had lost 40% of the staff in the 6 months prior. So people were not happy. Things were not good. And of course, I got put on a little bit of a glass cliff, not going to lie, but it was I would say in my career so far, from like a job perspective, it has been the most wonderful experience of my career. We created magic, because I became the leader that this team needed. I was transparent, unless it was under NDA or it was HR related. I was willing to share information, right? And I did that so that they could understand, here are the conversations being had at much higher levels. So here's the context and rationale of what things are kind of cascading or why decisions are being made. And if and what they appreciated was that they had context. And by giving them the empowerment to go do their job, but providing them with the context they needed to make good decisions, I could trust that we were always going to be moving in the right direction. And it became magic. Like we went from, in 1 year, I rebuilt that team, but we had increased the happiness like by 2 points over the company's average in 1 year, right? We shifted the customer sentiment double digits in 1 year positively. And part of that was because people were like, what do we need to be doing? And I'm like,
Yeah.
Stop shoving new stuff down our customers,
Yeah.
when they want the stuff that they have to work.
Yep.
So we're going to focus on making everything we have work really, really well. We're going to fix the stuff that really, really bothers them. And we're going to stop pushing a bunch of new stuff unless it's really mission critical or it's business critical. Right.
Yep.
And, that changed the game. And once I said that, everybody was like, got it. And it was fantastic. And it was about radical transparency, providing that depth of context. It was about empowering people to do their jobs. It was letting them know what the end, like what the goal is.
Yep.
And believing in that they had the right skills to get it done. And it was magical.
So when you were talking through that, I was thinking about a consulting firm that I have worked with in the past, and their big claim to fame is that they could always come up with something new. Well, we weren't good at anything because we were always trying to do the next big
Coming up with
thing.
something new.
And as an employee, I couldn't keep up because there were always something new that you're supposed to keep up with.
Yep.
You had no time to provide partner and customer support because you're so busy just trying to run in circles to keep up. So when you were talking through that, I was flashing back to a culture that was so toxic and uncomfortable.
Yep.
And I could just feel probably the change that you would have felt, changing that shift for your team at NPR. So that's amazing.
Yeah, it was the right choice. Like
Yeah, sure.
remember if you're here to serve you're here to serve customers, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
however you want to call your customer, whatever name you put on your customer, we were still serving customers.
Yep.
And we needed our customers to feel good about doing work with us, and we needed to improve it. And there was this culture of, at that time, I think a lot of media companies kind of played in the space where, they were trying to be technology companies, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I get it. But if you don't have like Netflix money, and if you don't have, like Paramount money,
Yeah.
you need to be amazing content creators and leverage technology to distribute and expand audiences, expand to audiences.
Yeah.
And so there was a lot of that, kind of space in it all. But what we were doing was really help elevating the digital, capability and the digital experiences that public radio stations were doing across the country. So we really like elevated the boats, like where you rise, all the boats rise. And I'm really proud of that work. I'm super proud of the work, but I'm more proud of the team that came together to do that last year of really hard work.
Yeah.
And to this day, these people have my heart. I am deep friends with many of them still to this day.
I love that.
Some of us try to pull each other into jobs,
Yeah, for sure.
try to help each other, because it was lightning in a bottle. And I know I will never be able to create that experience again, but I learned what it takes to create those environments so that the culture can exist.
Yeah.
And that's really exciting. So because I have that experience, I really, truly, I love working with these women and one, I'm not going to try to have to sell you on it. Either you know that this is going to help your business and you're willing,
right.
You're ready for that change. Change readiness is a big part of it.
Yeah.
But if you're ready for that and you're willing to change kind of some habits, like the way you work in the day, or how you work with some of the people you work with, it could literally open up a complete huge change in your life that you just may not see yet because you're not giving yourself the space and the grace to stop and maybe look around.
Oh, I love that. That's so sweet. I just, I think about just the teams and how they probably feel too, and I have the same thing with it's isn't it so special when
It
those
is.
teams that you've built, you become friends. They become a part, an extension of, I've got a few people who I feel like they're family. I mean, and that's just me being really real.
Yeah. Yes. I have two of my closest female friends
Yeah.
now were women who worked with me or for me,
Yeah.
and today they're some of my closest confidants, my closest friends. And like, I dream about being able to I have my dream team of like bringing some of them back. And, and I'm like, I'm going to bring us back together one day. You wait and see.
I
It will bring us back.
I say the same thing, and I also say that at some point I will be able to hire producer Ken on a salary that's not takeout food.
Yes, I know, exactly. We all want that. We all really want that. But I definitely know the power that can you
Yeah.
can create these amazing relationships. And I just think it does all go back to change readiness, and it does go back to sometimes we reach that point where the pain of existing or doing the things the way you've been doing them, you're just like I something's got to give,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And my number one lesson that I kind of start with is like, what got you here is not going to get you there.
Yeah.
And especially if you are an entrepreneur or a founder, like founders have to become leaders. Some of them have never managed a person in their entire life. Some founders have never really built a full P&L or
Yeah.
a budget or a forecast or any of that. And so many of these business owners, like I had this amazing woman who had like a $15 million business who had no real financial documentation.
Oh.
And we fixed that for her. It gave us beautiful visibility into the site. We were able to locate, like, listen, if you could make this, change this here and change that there, it's going to change how much debt you're carrying. It's going to improve your cash flow. It's going, it's like then it gives you insight into what's really going to make this business work better. And how can maybe we find places to like buy time back for that owner so
Yeah.
that they can get that work-life integration, but breathe a little bit more.
Yeah.
And that's about, are you ready to let go and delegate? Are you ready to allow other people to help you? Like, are you ready to receive help? Is
Right.
one of the biggest things, especially for women.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I like to say right now, asking for help is a strength and not a weakness. So
True.
let's ask, and I hate the perspective that it's someone being weak. It's so strong to stand up and say, I just need a little help here. Like it can just
Yeah.
make such a difference. So
And I think it, and again, I think that's probably why I'm so attracted to the work that I do,
yeah.
because I know what it is to feel overwhelmed. I know what it is to, you're trying so hard and but something's got to give, but you don't know what to give up.
Yeah.
You need somebody to help you. I'm like the Marie Kondo of business operations. It's
Yeah.
like, does it bring you joy? Right. And if it
Yeah.
doesn't bring you joy, we got to fix it,
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, our work should not feel like a punishment, and it shouldn't feel like a horrible drudgery experience. It might be a grind, but that grind can be fun.
Yeah.
That grind can be purposeful. That grind can be intentional,
Yeah.
right? And I think that's where we get caught up, like people can get lost in their own sauce, and you have to be willing to take a step back out,
Yeah.
take a look at it.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I could talk about this all day long.
I know.
It's just wonderful. I think, I hope that people will reach out. I think the work that you're doing could be such a positive impact for so many people. And, I love how just hearing the passion in your voice and talking about the topic. And, I could definitely tell you that your work brings you joy, and
It
that's
does.
just something that, everybody wants, not a lot of people find that. So when you do, that's amazing. But
Yeah, I thank you. I appreciate that. I definitely am probably more of a giver than I should be, but
yeah,
but but I think that's just like who I am, and
yeah,
I get very, some clients I get really invested into,
yeah,
because I believe in these people. We build a relationship, and I'm not here just to like only help you with your business. Like I want to be your confidant. I want to be an advisor, but I want to be somebody that is in your corner, that that is always going to be supportive of you.
yeah.
That's part of the relationship that we build when we work together. But I do offer, a lot of free stuff on my website because, like, I like to give. Um, and so there's cool stuff about like business agility principles, which is
Awesome.
around change management, and that's kind of like it's really about introducing change and helping people kind of get that ready. Like, are you ready? Like, there's enough stuff there that will
Yeah.
help you figure out whether or not you're really ready to do kind of the work I would do with you. And I have a new product now. It's a self-guided SWOT workshop. So strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats.
Mhm.
I do this with everybody at the start. And I just decided I'm going to give this out. And if people want to talk to me about it, they'll come back.
Yeah.
If not, this is a great way to start gaining a little bit of that clarity about where you really need to be kind of spending your time. And it's a step-by-step self-guided workshop and you could do it through the context of like your business,
Yeah.
or you could do it through the context of yourself.
Awesome. Oh, I love that. And we will, when we push the audio for the podcast, we'll make sure that it's in all of the show notes. So there's a
Oh,
direct
that'd be
link
awesome.
to your
I
website.
appreciate that.
Of
Yeah.
course. Yeah, that's awesome. Well, anything fun on the horizon? Obviously, you got big Memorial Day plans, but
Oh, yeah.
anything?
Well, the Boston Natural is going to be dancing my heart out this weekend, but I have two awesome trips. I'm taking one trip with my daughter. We're going to Ireland for a wedding. So we're going to do like
Oh,
a little mommy daughter long
yeah.
weekend in Dublin. So I'm really excited about that because you have to invest in all of the relationships in your life. And my daughter's really me and my daughter. That's an important one. And then
Yeah.
my son and I are going to go to the Lake of the Ozarks family thing in July together. So he and I are going to do that trip together, while the husband is still being the rock star all over Cape Cod and in Boston. And then, and the dogs will get watched by, my daughter and my husband while my son and I get to go. So I'm really excited about my kid trips this
Oh,
summer and family. And so, yeah, I'm all about being grateful and appreciative of all of the things that I have. And I really am just really deeply experiencing a lot of just like being present moment. But I'm
yeah.
so excited that on the horizon, I have these really fun and exciting plans. And, it's been a while. It's been a while for these. Last year was a really hard year for me, health wise. And I feel like I've come out to a place where being able to travel with my children is just it's a gift,
Yeah.
and I'm just so grateful, and I'm
Oh,
excited about it. How about you? What about you? You gonna
yeah.
go do anything fun besides the lake?
Well, we have Comic-Con coming up.
Ooh,
Uh,
ooh,
we have
oh,
that
that's
next.
exciting.
Yep. So last year for Christmas, I gave the gift of time. So everybody has a lot of things, but we never have enough of is the gift of time and time together. So we've done various things. Got Ken, what have we done so far? We've done a couple of baseball games. So
Nice.
yep, and we've got Comic-Con this coming up week. We've got a couple trips up to the lake. We have Back to the Future, the Broadway show is coming to
Ooh, that's
Buffalo.
so
So
cool.
yeah, so it's been it's funny. I put all these plans in place like last November, December, and I'm like, they don't start until like March. And next thing I knew, I was like, oh, it's March, like
Oh,
it's
yeah.
happening now. And then it
Blink
was
blink
April.
of an eye. Blink of an eye.
But it's been an amazing thing. I think I'll do it again this year, just finding different things to go do together. We all have so much stuff. Our houses are bursting with stuff.
Oh, so much.
So yeah.
I am with you. I am on board with that. It's exactly where my family is.
Yeah.
We're in the same exact space. So like that's kind of part of that. So like my son's turning 21 in October.
Oh,
Big
party.
deal. And I think I purchased this in I think February, but there's an F1 race in Austin, Texas. My sister lives in Austin, Texas, so I get, a nice place to stay.
Yay.
And I bought him tickets to go see the F1 race for his 21st birthday.
That's pretty awesome gift.
And yeah, I mean, he's not going to get a gift for a really long time after this one, but 21's a big one, and
a big one.
we're gonna do that up, and then so I am excited. I'm excited about that, but I'm a huge planner. I don't know about you, but I'm traditionally I'm planning my life out at usually about 18 months.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll find mine in a spreadsheet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, I believe one of my favorite questions. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
What's the difference between a dream and a goal?
The difference between a dream and a goal. I mean, a goal is you just go do it. A dream is something you don't put action against.
It's a plan.
Yeah.
It's a plan, know? And it's like you can make anything happen, but you got to take that action. And it's like life is what you make it. Either you can sit there and let life happen to you, and you can kind of be in a reactive kind of space, or you can learn how to create the life that you want and be intentional about it.
Yeah. And you also feel pretty grumpy when you're just kind of sitting there, not going after what you want. So
like we're responsible for our own happiness. So get out there, folks.
That's right.
Go be something.
I love that. Go be and do something. Heck yeah, Stephanie, I'm with you. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being here. I love this conversation. I could keep going, so we'll have to have a part 2 because
I love that. Let's do it.
So thank you so much for being here. Producer Ken, thanks for your help tonight.
Thanks, Ken.
And as always, we record out of our community arts center here in Batavia called Go Art. If you're hoping to listen to our Western New York Changemaker series, episode 1 featured Greg Halleck, the executive director for here at Go Art, and we are grateful for a grant that allows us to use this space. So thank you to Go Art. And Stephanie, this was just a lovely talk. Thank you so much for being here and sharing all of your advice. And we'll get your website out on show notes, but for everybody, do you want to drop it here?
All right. It's empoweryourresults.com. And if you'd like, if you're a CEO looking to join a peer community in the greater Boston area, you can go to ceo-roundtable.com. And we'd love to talk to you.
All right. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Stephanie. And
all right,
thank you to everybody. Thanks to our longtime listeners for sticking with us. If you're new here, thank you. We appreciate it. Have a good night, Stephanie.
Thank you so much. Take care.